This is completely unacceptable!
Imagine a typical morning commute. A sharply dressed professional stops at an upscale cafe and reacts with visible disgust to a littered coffee cup. In public, we demand a high standard of decency. We want clean spaces and polite neighbors. Yet later that night, that exact same professional sits on their couch, gleefully running over pedestrians and staging bank heists in Grand Theft Auto. We judge a stranger for littering, but happily spend hours simulating felonies. We insist on moral perfection in our daily routines, while actively seeking out absolute moral depravity in our entertainment. To understand how we maintain this split without breaking our brains, sociologists use a framework of 3 distinct layers of moral reality: ideal culture, real culture, and imagined culture. This sharp division isn't a mistake in human logic. It is a highly structured psychological strategy that allows us to manage the conflicting pressures of modern life. First is ideal culture. These are the pristine values a society publicly claims to uphold, like the idea that marriage is a lifelong commitment, or that everyone should protect the environment. Right below that is real culture. This is the messy reality of how we actually behave. It's the fact that single-use plastic consumption remains high, and nearly half of all marriages end in divorce. The gap between what we say and what we do creates a state of moral hypocrisy. When the public standard is too high to practically achieve, we often resort to faking it. This behavior is driven by self-enhancement. We strictly regulate our public actions because we want the reputational rewards of appearing good. We signal moral superiority to others to secure our status within the group. This test interface shows a clinical study on calculating hypocrites. When asked to distribute $10, many participants chose to guess 2 dice, rather than making a direct fair split. They used the randomizer to appear fair while secretly manipulating the system to guarantee they received the larger share. Relying on an ostensibly objective procedure, like these digital dice, provides an impenetrable excuse for selfish behavior. It allows the person to exploit the situation while maintaining a public facade of integrity. We see this at the highest levels of status. During the COVID-19 pandemic, a Dutch minister of justice fiercely condemned social distancing violators as antisocial, only to be photographed ignoring those exact rules at his own wedding. When we demand an impossible ideal culture, we force ourselves into real culture hypocrisy. We end up trapped in a cycle of public performance and private failure. The sociologist Émile Durkheim argued that society actually requires rule-breaking. By reacting to deviance, a community clarifies its boundaries and reinforces its collective values. But there is a limit. If a society sees an excess of crime, its norms lose their power. The collective consciousness weakens, leading to a state of total regulatory collapse called anomie. This creates a social paradox. We need to witness deviance to understand the rules of morality, but practicing that deviance in the real world causes harm and risks societal collapse. The solution is the third tier, imagined culture. In reality, an immoral act creates a chain of victims and damage, but in fiction, a deviant act terminates at the screen. Because it produces 0 actual victims, it structurally differs from real-world crime. Fiction acts as a contained laboratory. It allows us to safely satisfy our social need to engage with deviance without the destructive consequences of real-world hypocrisy. This is double-standard moralism. It is the argument that we should apply one set of ethical rules to the real world and a completely different set to art. Engaging with dark or ambiguous fiction functions as a societal safety valve. It releases the pressure of living under the strict, often impossible demands of ideal culture. Because fictional stories provide us with the full context of a character's motives and situation, we can weigh concepts like duty, vice, and justice without the personal risks of a real-life mistake. This theoretical exercise helps us develop the very tools of moral reasoning we need when we return to reality. This process starts early. Educational programs like Philosophy for Children use fictional dilemmas to let students test ethical boundaries. By discussing stories, young people learn to distinguish between practical rules and moral values in a space where falling down a canyon has no real-world cost. This means we can finally decouple our taste in gritty fiction from our actual moral character. You aren't a hypocrite for enjoying a crime thriller. You are using a tool designed to keep your real-world ethics intact. A functioning society requires us to strive for our public ideals, but we can only survive that pressure if we allow ourselves a place where absolute mayhem can reign, consequence-free, in our imaginations.